This is Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of TR Publications, and I'm very pleased to have with us again Christian Stredicke, who's the CEO and president of Vodia. Christian, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, in our run-up to our podcast today, we've had a most interesting conversation that we're going to let everyone else in on now. We're going to be talking about, what's happening with work from anywhere, what's happening with the changes we're experiencing in the way we work, the way we communicate with each other, the way we in a way keep track how employers relate to each other. And I think, Christian, you've brought up a very interesting issue, the value of trust in business, the value of trust in work. So we're going to be talking about those things in just a second. But Christian, really quickly, what is Vodia?
Yeah, we're a manufacturer of telephone systems, in a nutshell.
But you do a lot more than that.
Yeah, of course, it's a lot more than just transferring calls these days. So now we have audio, we have video, we have text. So all these things are kind of mingled together. We have different technologies. We came from SIP, now it's WebRTC. A lot of things are changing, and integrations with CRM systems and with billing and reporting. So there's a lot of stuff around the core topic. So we're definitely pretty busy, and we expect to be busy over the next couple of years as well.
And you also develop software for real-time communications, voice, text, and video.
Yes.
And that's where our podcast begins today, because these technologies are, of course, enabling us to work in an entirely different way. But I think what you were wanting for everyone to be aware of is it's opened up doors of trust, or issues of trust. Explain to me what that means.
So, I mean, we have, on the one side, we have technologies changing, right? And if you think about it, we had video for a long, long time. But all the other thing is changing is the culture. The work culture is also changing, right? So with the pandemic, suddenly everybody had to go home. And it was definitely a big event in terms of how we work together. And I think video is there for a long time, but the way we used video is also changing. So I think before the pandemic, I would say a video conference, yeah, that did happen, but not so much. But today, a video conference is super mainstream, and everybody's used to it. But what we are seeing is that video conferences are scheduled, and everybody can prepare for it, and which is a good thing. On the other hand, for internal communications, we see that the spontaneity is missing, right? I mean, in the old times, you just call a colleague up and saying, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And then we hang up. Just took a minute. Now, if you need to schedule it, it's like 15 minutes gone, and you don't want to do that. You want to essentially have a quick resolution. And what we've seen is, if you work together in one office, you obviously trust each other because you see each other every day, right? You have a little chit chat, you're going to get some water and you talk to somebody. And that is becoming more difficult. And I think that's where video can help. So if you say, okay, if I have to talk to that guy for a minute, why don't I do it over video, right? And the video helps building more this trust relationship, right? Especially because when it's not scheduled, and you know that it's not scheduled, it's more an honest conversation, because you cannot, let's say, hide somewhere far away and pretend to be working here and there. You see really what's going on, and that is, I think, something welcome in the company cultures. Help building up that trust relationship inside the company.
And you've even brought up, and I guess we've had some outstanding stories that made it into the Wall Street Journal and so on, people that took advantage without their employer's knowledge, in a culture where you're supposed to be dedicated, of maybe taking on multiple jobs.
So there were like tips on how to avoid, if you have like a video call already with company A, how to avoid that company B has the same time slot, come up with excuses, right? And it's I think it's a culture. I don't like that culture, right? It's a little bit it's like the cheating culture. And and as an employer, if I would hear that one of my employees has a second job on the side, I would be definitely not happy about it. And that's, I think, why it's great to have a way to have an honest relationship with people working in a company. And anything helps. There's not only video calls, there's definitely other things as well. I mean, there's like this kind of uh, keyboard trackers and video cameras and stuff like that. I think that's very, very sneaky. And that's not helping building up trust. It's essentially destroying trust, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to have a tool that helps building up trust. And I think the video call inside the company is helping. Not that they always have to accept the call. If you don't like it, you essentially can say, "Oh no, I don't want it today. Maybe I don't want to take the call at all, or maybe I look bad today. My hairstyle is not okay, whatever." And then you just say, "I don't want it. It's fine." But in other cases, you probably say, "Okay, it is fine." And maybe not looking perfect is part of being honest, right? You see essentially the real person. You see the real background. You see, okay, it's messy, but that's how life is, right? That is how people are. If you go to somebody's office booth, you know what? It might also be messy, right? That's just the way it is. But it all helps to building up an honest and real relationship with people working not physically in the office. And that's where I think, like the year 2023, right? Yeah, video is still a topic, and it's becoming more and more topic in the work culture.
And what I think you're saying is that we're developing, in a sense, a brand new work culture, something different from what we had maybe before the pandemic.
Right. So there was definitely a culture shock because of the lockdown and all the weeks and months after that. And then there's technology. So I think we essentially have these building blocks of tools, software and hardware. We all have mobile phones. We all have now laptops with cameras in it, right? Then of course the question is, what are we going to do with it, right? And this is a process that will take time, right? And it's a slow process. So the work culture is changing. So if you think about it, I think like 5 years ago, having a video call in your private bedroom would be unthinkable, right? But today it is normal. So a lot of things have changed already, and I believe it will go on. Also, like people, like people sold their house in the big city and moved somewhere to countryside, right? So that is not happening overnight. Now the question is, are they going back? Maybe they're going closer to the city again. And then they say, okay, we're mixing a few days in the office with a few days at home. And this is definitely a process that's going to happen for the years to come. And I think we as technology providers, we should offer options, right? We should offer these
Hmm.
kind of possibilities, and then people will find out what they're going to take and what not, right? It doesn't mean that everybody is going to do video calls, not at all, but a certain percentage will, right? And that's fine. And I think that's where we come in, and we should provide that possibility.
Well, Krishna, I'm happy that you brought that up because I'd like to know what Vodia is doing. What are you doing to help your customers have these options and choices?
Yeah. So, okay, on the technology side, the reality is there are desktop phones, and we have desktop phones with video, right? And doing the SIP protocol. And then we have browsers and we have apps, and they're not talking SIP, they're talking WebRTC. So for us, it was quite a challenge to translate between them, right? Because you cannot just say, okay, you guys talk to each other, because everything still has to go through the PBX. And I think we're mostly done with it. Okay, still the iOS app is a little bit on the edge, still okay. But anyway, so we're working on it, and we want to make sure that practically everybody from every device can talk to everybody else on every other device. So it is still in the year 2023 a little bit of a challenge to make that happen. And I think we had made great progress this year, so that most of the calls can actually be video inside the company.
And so, it sounds like some of the video story you're telling me about is relatively new.
Yeah, so we had always audio, now we have video, and we also have to talk maybe quickly about text, because that's the other thing that people are using today, right? So we definitely did also some improvements there. So we kind of keep everything in one conversation history with a person, so you can see, oh, this is the time when I talked to somebody. Maybe you see there was a voicemail being left, and you can take notes, right? So that makes sense for internal calls, but also that makes sense for external calls. So for external calls, we see video much less as a topic, but text a lot more, because people are usually, when you do talk about customer interactions, are using their cell phones and smartphones, and they want to text, right? They want to chat a little bit, and it's like an on-off conversation. They maybe don't respond for an hour, and then the conversation continues. But you want to keep that all together, so that you, as essentially agent, see the conversation history of the person. And that is also something that we were working on and also going to release soon.
So as we wrap up our podcast today, I think this sounds like the message is that we need to be aware as we introduce new technologies to be conscious of the type of culture we're establishing inside the office, outside the office, and corporate wide.
Yes, I think that's a great thing. I think the technology gives us great opportunities. I think we're working hard on making them usable and make it possible, but we don't want to dictate the style that people work together. So I think this is what every company, every person has to find out. So essentially, we want to give the possibilities, and then people can pick what they like and what they don't like. And I think this will all help having a better workplace and having more fun at work, and making this all better in the coming years.
Well, Christian, with that, on that note, this is a good place to for us to stop today. But I know we're not stopping the conversation. I'm looking forward in the near future to another one of our podcasts to update ourselves on what you're thinking about this evolving situation. Where can we learn more about Vodia?
You can go to our website, www.vodia.com, and if you like, call us or schedule a video call. We're happy to talk and explain everything.
Well, for now, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.